When we started engaging deeply with them, we realized that there is a huge hatred or a stereotype about each other based on their religion, gender, caste, and so on. And it cannot be wiped out just by one or two events or programs or seminars and so on. So we need to engage with this younger generation for a longer period of time.
This institute, though, aims to build communal harmony, spirit of secularism amongst Muslim and Dalit youth in Gujarat. The aim is to provide young people from these marginalized communities access to education, skills, and then eventually livelihoods so they can live purposeful lives with dignity. And the program has worked with about 100 young people so far, but I think it has enormous potential to scale across Gujarat and across the country.
Hello, welcome to Spare Change to Real Change. Today we're in conversation with Nayan Patel, one of the founders of Buniyaad. The purpose of Buniyaad is to strengthen it as a resource center facilitating empowerment, access to rights, justice, and social security of Muslims and other marginalized communities in Gujarat. Nayan, tell us about the birth of this initiative.
The birth began, I think, in around 2015, but it got triggered in way back in 2002 when the mass targeted violence against Muslims happened in Gujarat. A lot of civil society organizations, civil society activists got involved into how they can facilitate help Muslim community at large who has been victimized in accessing justice. But larger question which was boggling was why did this happen? What we saw during 2002, the intensity, the kind of violence, the rapes, the burning of alive people was very brutal, and this was all executed by young people between 18 to 30 years of age, and we were constantly churning among ourselves that how can this happen and who told these young people to do all this, and from where all this hatred and fearlessness has arrived in these young people. So that is where we started thinking ki how do we do, and what do we do about it, because if we don't engage with these young people, both the victims and the perpetrators, then this will go on and it will grow more in across this country. So that is where we started engaging with young people from both the Muslim and the other marginalized communities, especially the Adivasi, Dalit, OBC community youth. We started experimenting various initiatives. We started with experimenting like sports, like cricket for peace tournament we organized. We invited Kapil Dev for one tournament. Then next tournament we invited Sunil Gavaskar, and all of them they came, and slowly the young people at least have started interacting with them, each other. The ice were broken between them, and they started getting normalized into their relationships, everyday relationships, and that's how it all started. But when we started engaging deeply with them, we realized that there is a huge hatred or a stereotype about each other based on their religion, gender, caste, and so on. And it cannot be wiped out just by one or two events or programs or seminars and so on. So we need to engage with this younger generation for a longer period of time. And that's how we conceived this idea and we named it Buniyaad. Buniyaad literally means a foundation. So that is how around, I would say, around 2015, we got very clear idea that we need to do and conceive this whole intervention, and that's how it all started.
What a powerful purpose. Can you touch on some of the initiatives, the focus areas of this project?
Larger focus areas of this intervention is around how do we orient them around the constitutional values, and they imbibe, learn those values, and they start practicing those values in their everyday lives. Another is how do we promote and build understanding of these young people around social perspective. Social perspective, when I say, it means around the whole issue of caste-based violence, caste-based atrocities, the gender-based differences, and gender-based violence. Similarly, the religion-based polarization, violence, extremism, hatred, all of that. So, how do we help them to understand the whole thing of a social perspective? We engage with them, facilitate them in such a way that they try to understand those concepts in their own realities. Yeah, so that kind of processes we facilitate.
Thanks so much, Nayan. I love the vision and I love the name Bunyad. There's something very strong and compelling. And I mean, if you get your foundation right, then your building is going to be strong. I know these are still early days and you're talking about journeys and transformation over a period of time. But people listening who are beginning on the journey of philanthropy, for them, there's always a need to understand some sense of impact, even in its earliest avatar.
Yeah. So currently, before I start sharing that, I just share with you a model how we work, how we operate. So we work in 8 blocks. So which includes the block headquarter, and in every block there are 30 villages. That is very carefully chosen. For example, the simple criteria we use is that at least we should have 2 marginalized communities presence in that village. So likewise, we work in those 8 blocks around 250 villages and 8 towns. So in each block, I could say from an impact point of view, at least we have 25 to 30 young citizen leaders who have a basic value in place, basic social perspective is there, and they have developed certain competencies for themselves, and they are readily available to serve voluntarily to their own communities on different issues or a focus area. I would say we have currently around 200 nurtured young citizen leaders who are serving their own respective communities, and slowly we are facilitating them to also go beyond their own community. So that kind of leaders are available, which I would say it's early impact. So that is one thing. Another thing, among these leaders, I can say as an impact that at least they have started challenging and dealing with their own biases and their own stereotypes. They may not have overcome them fully. They have started recognizing that yes, I have a gender bias. Yes, I have a caste bias. I have, and slowly dealing with that. So that's the one impact I would say. And also another thing which I would say that at area level, they have been able to form a solidarity collective. So they may be working in specific villages voluntarily, but when they come together at the block level, that is where they start forming a collective which is ready to help each other.
What have been the challenges as an organization? And if you can then connect it to your overall long-term impact, what you'd like to see?
There are not so much of jobs available in rural or semi-urban areas. We are not able to offer them their choice-based employment or livelihood related activities or programs, and that ends up into so many young people migrating to big cities, and then they end up into worst kind of life in a slum, because at entry level they get hardly 10,000, 8,000 job, which they cannot afford to live in a good place. We are also lacking funds in a way, so it becomes tricky for us as an organization to decide where to invest and where not in a limited resource situation. Also, the external environment is throwing huge challenges, like the external vicious environment, religious dogmatism, the instrumentalization of young people. So, yeah, that's the thing. And in terms of, I think, overall impact, what we would like to see is that how through this kind of grassroots community embedded initiatives, how do we strengthen the culture of rule of law rather than a rule of mob or a mob culture or rule of society and so on. And through this process, I hope that a lot of young people will start respecting that rule of law, and they don't get into violent response to any situation whatsoever. And that's the long term vision which we are working for.
Thank you, Nayan. I think that's very powerful. I hope this becomes a really powerful movement to change the rule of mob to rule of law. Today, the biggest challenge and the biggest opportunity for India is the demographic dividend, and to be able to channel disenfranchised and marginalized youth towards something positive that they can own and create opportunities for themselves is a very, very powerful vision. So, more power to you. And my message to anyone listening here is, if you want to know more, we will share details at the end of this conversation. Please reach out to Nayan's team to support in any way you can. Thanks so much.
Thank you.